All right, what's going on, everybody? I have an end of the year video going over some of the stuff that I've done for the past couple months. I've done some work to my truck, I've done some work to my car, and I picked up some more tools and equipment along the way. I'm trying to not get off track whenever it comes to my projects, and so I do a little here, a little there, but I need to like maintain focus on what I'm doing. And so I'm not making a whole lot of progress in one direction, but I'm doing my best to make sure everything gets done and not bite off more than I can chew. So this is some of the stuff that I've got going on. Some of the stuff that I got was AC/DC welder, so that way I can also do aluminum, and I can start prototyping an intake for my engine. I've never done TIG welding before, so I'm buying all the bells and whistles to make sure I can just work efficiently. I got myself a tungsten grinder, some fancy crap, whatever. And I also got a generator I got my own generator that can keep my equipment going. So basically I can have like a rig type truck on a cheaper budget, and I can always remove it. So instead of riding around with 700, 800 pounds in the bed of my truck, then I can just, take it out on a whim. But another thing I got regarding the headers that I'm going to start making is I got a very basic Ice Engine Works kit. Comes with a pretty nice case for what it is. I'll try to hold on to it for as long as I can. I got some clamps to help with it, but it comes with all the blocks and pieces, and so that way I can mock up the headers that I want and then go from there. But the good thing is they're pretty generic sizes for pretty generic engines, and so even though this is a 1 5/8, I can make this for a plethora of different motors. I want to use these to start making headers for 302 swap new edges, and that idea is up in the air. I want to pursue it, but it's just an idea for right now. But encouraging people to put a 302 in their new edge instead of a Coyote would make me feel good inside, and it kind of encourages people to work on their engines more. Yes, you have to work on it more, but that's the beauty of having a decked out car. If you have a car with a bunch of horsepower, you just throw the engine in and forget about it. It's like, what's the fun in that? Whereas if you tune the carbs, set the ignition, change the spark plugs, like routine maintenance, it keeps the enthusiasm for working on cars alive. But this is pretty much what I got so far. This is stuff regarding the building headers for my car. These are the amps I decided to choose to go with my subwoofers. I got 2 of them, so now my full set is this S2 class. So it's not just all Alpine, now it's all Alpine S2. And I got 2 of them. They should be able to push 600 watts to each sub. And then that way I can still have a left and a right channel. If I'm going all out, I might as well make it nice for my truck. So this is what I got so far. All right, so these were the spark plugs I was going to use on this motor. But since I have GT40P heads, the threads aren't long enough, so it's not registering in the spark plug holes. But so far, I got an air cleaner that actually seats all the way now. I had to get a 4-inch element because the 3-inch was hitting the carb. But I need to figure out this air cleaner stud situation. And then I just got the front end of the motor done, so I got my timing pointer in. I just got that broken bolt that was out right here. That's been removed and remedied. And then I just redid my oil pan gasket, and so now the engine's permanently in the car. The only reason I would have to pull it out now is if the motor mounts are backwards. The instructions weren't super clear. It could go one way or another. And when I was looking up references on the firewall gap, everybody with the SN95 5.0 fucking sucks. So I'm having to figure this out the hard way, but for the most part, this motor is in the car. done. I got a 65 style water neck, 65 style coil. I already got a 65 style distributor. And so basically how the motor is going to look is like an original 65 and a NASCAR motor. So I got a lot of 64, 65, 66 parts with NASCAR pulleys. I already got the flanges with stubs and the building block kit to make my own headers. And so now I just need to mock them up and make get the raw materials. So the primaries and then the collectors. And I'm gonna do tri-wise. So where they merge, I'm gonna have to fabricate those from scratch just because I want them a certain way. But yeah, now the motor's in the car. Now I can just throw the transmission on, and then I need a water pump gasket, and then I'm gonna need to start hooking up all the sensors. I'm also gonna need some plugs for this fuel injector holes. I could JB weld it, but if I pass this on to someone else or if I sell it, then this is a perfectly good EFI manifold. Yeah, for the most part, this thing is ready to start filling it up with oil and wiring up all the sensors. I already got the distributor figured out. Now I just need to source a timing light or buy one and then make my headers. And yeah, just start getting everything all hooked up. And most likely by spring, the way things are going, it should be pretty quick to get this thing at least started and fired up. The headers are going to take me a while, but everything else should be smooth sailing and pretty quick. And then once I get the engine running and all the gauges work right and all the vitals seem to be okay, then I can work on getting this car driving again. But yeah, that's mostly how it's looking in the engine bay so far. I want to get 65 style valve covers. They make reproduction ones, but I also want to get reproduction spark plug wires because there's way too much slack in all of this, and I want to get all the slack out. So I'm just slowly chipping away at it as is. All right, so I didn't know that this was going to be an issue with my air cleaner choice, but being that it's a 14x4, it is definitely hitting the hood, and it is hitting way at the back, up against the back of the hood. So I need to figure something else out. I do have that carb hat, but I just don't like the way that looks. I like the good old-fashioned simplicity of air filter like this, but if it's gonna cause me fitment issues, function follows form. So instead of me just cutting a bunch of dumbass holes that I don't need, I would rather have a car that looks pretty instead of you know, a cracked out piece of shit making 800 horses. So I will try to remedy this and figure out what I'm going to do with it. All right, so this is the update so far since I started upgrading this truck a little bit. It's got some 20x10s up front, 21x11.5s in the back, 2-inch flares up front, 3-inch flares in the back, tow mirrors. I think it looks pretty beefy. I want to do a 0.3 drop on it, just so that way I can get the wheel gaps looking nice and even on there, because the rear end does stick up kind of high. So between the two wheels and tires, the proportions are exactly the same, even though the rear is bigger. So if you crunch the numbers, the rears are identical to the front. That's pretty damn close. And so I just want to close up this rear gap that's on the truck. Now, the flares are so put on. I need to straighten this one in particular out, but I didn't want to remove the liners and have to start going for it. So I actually want to glue it in place and then body work it into the fiberglass and then go from there and see how that turns out. But for the most part, I just want to do a drop and an exhaust tip to make this truck look pretty presentable. And so I want to do like 2 dual tips coming out, JDM style, coming out of the side. I think that'd look pretty nice. And it's got a pretty beefy stature. It's a pretty big single cab. And I have bits and pieces of footage comparing it to other drop trucks that you see around here. So it definitely looks the part. And then once I get all the body work straightened out and everything, then I can, you know, put some fresh chrome on it, paint it, and then do the interior. I did try to get a subwoofer box made, and they literally just slapped some shit together and expected me to pay for it, and I did not want that. So I kind of just left it up at the shop and wasn't expecting to, and I would be embarrassed, honestly, to install what they made into my truck. I would think this truck deserves a lot more than just some Amazon quality shit. So I did attempt to get a box made. I didn't like it, and so I left it. But this is how the truck is turning out so far. Also, I just got some fresh WeatherTech floor mats as a Christmas gift, so I think that's cleaning up the interior pretty nicely. And so I saw that there's the cat skin will make fresh upholstery for this, which will save me a lot of time. And so if I can get foam for the seats in this truck, then I'll get cat skin to make the upholstery for me, if they make what I want. If they don't make what I want, I guess I'm doing it my damn self, but it is what it is. And then I'm just trying to do little things on the interior to clean things up. I could definitely use a fresh hood latch, fresh pads on the pedals, and a good wipe down. But this is my truck that takes me to work, so I don't expect it to be minty fresh every damn day. But it's sort of clean for the moment. Okay, so my front tires, 275 45 R20s. These are on some 20 by 10s. These were just some cheap bullshit, get them on the truck type tires. And I put these on because my factory ones kept having issues on the Pasadena highways, Houston highways, with potholes and shit. So these ride a lot better and a lot more responsive, but the brakes can't seem to keep up. Now, whenever it comes to the rears, some 315 40 RZ 21s. These are actually for a Mercedes, like a GLS 400 450, and I had to get them adapted to fit. And so the rear is 6 inches wider and the front is 4 inches wider to get the fitment that I want. And the only way that I would really upgrade past these is if I get matching fronts or a set of forged wheels, but ideally this is how I'd like my truck to look. All right, that's pretty much gonna wrap up this video. I put in some work. I'm still got a lot to go, and I'm just gonna keep chipping away at what I got. Hopefully my car's running soon. I'm gonna keep my truck running and nice. It's like 350,000 miles, and I don't want it to just start feeling and acting worn out. The other day I had a scare, something minor, and I was thinking about an engine swap, and I went down into a rabbit hole and I had to snap myself out of it. And so I want to refrain from doing anything extreme to my truck. So I mean, if you've seen what I've done with my Mustang, I don't want to go that far with my truck, especially since it's my daily. But I mean, for the most part, I'm just chipping away at my car, trying to keep my truck clean, and just making progress forward. So hopefully the next time I see y'all, my car will either be running or close to running. And yeah, for the most part, all I got left is just some very minor stuff and then just wiring. And then my car should be ready for the first start with the 5.0 in it. I'm probably gonna have to make not just the headers but the full exhaust, so I'll have to get a hold of some mufflers and some hangers and yada 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 and just do all that. Now The way I ran my fuel lines, I could really cover that with some heat shield and then run a traditional exhaust. I have my more permanent exhaust that I want is a bit extreme, but if I'm working out kinks with learning how to weld exhaust, as in, you know, covering pinholes and everything and make sure it's actually sealed, if I'm practicing making exhaust, it would make more sense to just do a full practical style exhaust, like something that you could buy online. And then once I'm happy with it, I could just take it off and sell it. The only downside is like the headers evolve completely different headers. Like the collectors are going a whole different direction. Instead of side exhaust, it's like rear exhaust. And so if I do a practical one, then I end up having to sell the entire thing. So that involves me making the exhaust for someone else's build. So not what I want in my car. We'll see what the future holds. But anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and I'll see y'all next time.